Phyllis's next guest is not intimidated by the growth of AI. Jory Jardins helps companies bridge transitions with her strategic thinking on how to empower humans in the workplace. She stops companies from running scared and making poor decisions while partnering with AI. She is known for her groundbreaking work in the digital world with company BlogHer, and now her current work spans Fortune 1000 companies, open source movements, startup accelerators, and public-private partnerships. She is the one to talk to on the future of work.
You are watching Profundo TV with host Phyllis Haynes.
Jory, it's a pleasure to talk to you. You are a very busy, occupied individual, so taking the time to talk to me is most appreciated. I will have the audience know that there is no way I can encapsulate all of the things that you do, but I am most interested in a particular line that you have written. And that line is, if the current job market tells us anything, it's that no one new or experienced knowledge workers alike is insulated from disruption. No one is insulated from disruption. This is a scary line to me. What did you mean by that?
I feel like my entire ecosystem is living this line right now. So what did I mean by that? Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. And yes, I laughed when you said so busy, because it's more like I'm preternaturally curious and working on many things at once. And for me, it's about focus. This has been my call to action in 2026 has been focus. And you touched on what I am absolutely focused on this year, which is trying to identify what this uncertainty looks like and how we get out of it, how we work our way out of it. I was referring to the impacts, not just of what's going on in the world geopolitically, which has left a lot of uncertainty, but I would say the AI evolution, I won't say revolution, evolution has truly accelerated this sense of disruption in the workforce across any vertical you can think of. And so many people in my orbit, I've been working a few years, 25, 30 years, people who have been in this space, who have navigated really well-planned careers, are in a place of, I don't know where to go next. This is such an uprooting of where we were planning to go that people don't have a roadmap. And the previous roadmaps from previous disruptions are not applying. And so what does apply? What will work? What will get us to where we want to go? And that means many different things to many different people. So it's a moment of, I'd say, occupational chaos that we're navigating right now. And I am perhaps strangely optimistic that we can work our way out of it, because so many people are asking these questions right now and not blindly accepting what's happening.
I'm a bit optimistic about it all because I think that there are new areas of work that are also evolving. And one of the reasons I'm talking to you is that I think you've navigated a lot of the change on your own. You have another service that you do that describes itself as taking a complex AI frontier work to human, so that you're helping decision makers make what they do more human. But let's narrow this down for the layperson, because my audience is so somewhat sophisticated, but not as sophisticated as the tech bros. So, what should we be thinking about, or what kinds of questions should people looking for work be asking?
Yes. So backing up to the job crisis that is emerging from the AI disruption, let's look at what's actually happening in the workforce. Companies are anticipating that AI is going to change everything, and they don't know exactly how. So they adopt AI before they know how it's going to impact the workforce. So what this results in are layoffs or a lot of mass confusion. People whose job was X now has to do Y if they're going to keep their job. So there's a lot of panic. And I think a lot of this disruption is unnecessary, because at the end of the day, let's play this out a year later, 2 years later. People who were laid off will be needed to come back in to help navigate these systems, because we need humans to oversee what is happening in these companies. No company can or should, I would argue, be run by an LLM, by AI. We need a person at the top. And there is a phrase for this kind of company or any solution where a human is involved, and that's called human in the loop. And
Say it again. It's
human
called
in the loop. So if you're building
Okay.
a human in the loop solution, that means that no matter what, a human is making the final judgment or is involved in the process at some point and ensuring that the AI is making the right calls or doing the work that it was meant to do. Any system that does not have a human in the loop is not valid in this model. And that is a model that I believe in strongly. The other thing that I believe very strongly in is I call it human agency architecture. So when we're thinking about how do we integrate AI into our organizations, into our own work, rather than looking at AI as simply a productivity solution, this will help us get here faster, cheaper, without people, I look to see how will the AI enhance the human output. We all have potential. And I think the missing opportunity here, and for some organizations, they're figuring this out, but the real missing opportunity is that we could be empowering people to go beyond what they were doing, not replace them, accelerate them. But the AI has to be employed to help them meet their potential. And this is where I think a lot of companies right now are having knee-jerk reactions and getting it wrong. They're saying, okay, well, we just need to replace. And this is particularly scary for anyone who's just graduated from college, right? Because that whole entry-level job is going away. And how do they enter the job market? How do they learn experience? This is actually our biggest advantage, especially for people who have been in the workforce 20, 25, 30 years. We have learned experience. AI doesn't have it. So how do we leverage that? And those are the systems that I'm thinking through right now in the organizations.
Well, now, if a manager or CEO were talking to you, that's very logical. But I can tell you that with the AI software that I use, it's always telling me how wonderful I am and how excellent my decisions are. So, um, how do we bypass that problem? Because I'm sure that that's also having an impact on some decision making.
So this is the other part of what I'm doing. Yes, I'm working with organizations on how to create human first systems. With individuals, it's how do I now navigate and maintain my human capability even while using AI? It's about coexistence with AI, not replacement. And part of that, I refer to Gay Hendricks' book and this whole notion of the zone of genius. We all have a zone of genius. We probably should know what it is by now, but not all of us do. But I think the work that I've been really focused on is helping people to understand what their zone of genius is, because that is what you want to protect. So when you're using AI, my zone of genius is not writing proposals. It's not research. It's strategy. So I don't have AI touch that. In fact, I did actually run an experiment with a client where I asked AI to help me with my strategy. Here's what it is. Can you draft this out? And of course, it's like, this is brilliant. Here you go. Here it is. Hand it off. I read this and I knew out of the gate, again, because of learned experience and having done this maybe just shy of 1,000,000 times before, that this strategy would not work. So I knew what my lane was. I knew where AI had a lane. It helped me with the research and qualifying everything that I was about to put into my strategy, but it wasn't going to do the strategy. That's me. I'm hired for what I know, right? So helping people to establish their lane, that is the critical juncture. That is the most important thing. And going back to the organization, working with organizations to help extract the best that humans have and then leverage AI to help them to put that front and center is the critical process. That's the human agency architecture I'm talking about.
That is reassuring. Now, getting that message across is it's going to be the challenge.
I won't lie to you, Phyllis. I think right now there's a sense of panic, and we're going to see more job loss before we see companies start to embrace it. I have been meeting with some operators who they're tasked with the AI transformation in their organizations, and they are struggling to convince their CEOs to keep people. They're like, give me a shot. Let me just try to work this out. Don't do anything yet. Let's get people up to speed. So I do anticipate we're in a unsure moment, and there will be a little carnage, but I do think that we will eventually get to a place where we're in a better spot. Disruption's hard.
Disruption is hard. Here are some openings in the challenge that I see. You write a newsletter called This Woman's Work. Um, as a woman, as a female, I see opportunities because of AI that I didn't see before. Because AI can do heavy lifting, it can do some of the things that women have been barred from before. So it can act as a partner in a lot of tasks. We don't have to get detailed. Is my assumption correct there? That there is some partnership that can help bridge the inequality of physical strength, for example.
I love where you're going with this. Yes, I don't think it's only enhancing women's careers, but I think that we are uniquely positioned to benefit from AI. And I'll tell you why. I started about 2.5, 3 years ago, a digital community with my former, I had a company called BlogHer. That's when we met, exited about 10, 11 years ago. And my co-founder there and I teamed back up again because we were having many discussions about what was wrong in the world of work. And here we were, two women, executive level, and we weren't getting what we needed out of work. We were miscast in many ways as, oh, you're a founder, come in and fix my company. And we knew we wanted to have more varied careers. We didn't want to commit to only one. The contract with organizations is breaking. It's no longer one job and that's it. You're done. We don't have that kind of security anymore. So we have to kind of play our own careers like we would a portfolio, right? You have many irons in the fire. You have many interests. And as you get older and more experienced, who's to say that all of that can be encapsulated in one job anymore? So we wanted to explore that. And we started Optionality is the name of the organization, to really be kind of our lab, working with experienced people, many of them women. In fact, perhaps because we started BlogHer, there are probably 95% or more people who in this community who are female, experienced female professionals. But we set out to kind of create a community of practice. What are you seeing in the world? How are you managing your career today? And we started to see some trends along the lines of how they were expanding their work, how they were dividing it up into pieces and managing those pieces differently. And this was all a fallout of COVID, really, even before AI came into the picture. But once AI did come into the picture in a significant way, many of them started to use it, not just to recreate their careers and new businesses and become experts. Some of them actually took a totally different turn and reacted in ways that I would say was a little surprising, just didn't want to deal with it at all. Right. So we're seeing kind of this divide right now. But I will say the ones that I've noticed that have really been thriving and really finding new ways of being in the world and new careers that are bespoke are the ones that have used AI to help them find their differentiation, who have helped them elevate into new areas of thinking, new ways of being. They use AI almost as a coach and like a sparring partner. Help me understand this. So when I do approach and think about this, how am I thinking about this differently? It's more of a Socratic approach to AI versus, oh my gosh, I'm avoiding you like the plague because you're going to come for my job.
That is excellent. That is absolutely excellent. You're giving us a way to interact, to bridge the confusion. We can sit down with it as a partner.
Yes.
So I know we could spend another program on all the pitfalls. I don't want to do that. I want to be this conversation. I want to talk about
Good.
possibilities that excite me. Now I'm a little bit way out. I'm in a book called Artificial Intelligence versus Human Intelligence, and in this book I talk about some of my crazy dreams. But we're not going to bore you with my dreams yet. What I want to know is, where's the greatest innovation coming that you're excited about that hasn't happened yet?
So glad you asked. And by the way, Phyllis, I use AI to help analyze my dreams. Game changer. Game changer. Because when I was starting to navigate a career transition, some of them were recurring dreams, but I had some crazy dreams. I just had no idea what. Put that in, and I actually used two different just to get competing versions of interpretation. It's a great way to get something out of that, because you could think your dreams are completely just nonsensical. It means something, and I would never have been able to surface those insights by myself without the use of AI. It knows you, especially if you've been working with an AI chatbot for a while. It knows you. It knows what happened recently in your world and your life. And it has the context to help really, it's better than a dream dictionary, which is what I used to consult.
Let me throw one of my dreams at you. Now, when I say dream, I don't mean the thing that happens when I go to sleep.
I was being literal.
Yeah, I was talking about my sci-fi desires. Years ago, at an organization called the Social Venture Network, we were talking about homelessness, and I had this crazy idea that we could take trees that were, in fact, that grow with gigantic hollows, and that we could integrate those hollows with crystals and literally grow a community, say over a 25-year period, made of redwoods that people could live in. And I'm not going to bore the whole audience with my detail. But the point is, I have ideas that are really wild and outrageous. So I'm asking you.
I got one.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Idea. I don't know if it's as outrageous as that, but one of my clients is focused on upskilling the workforce and transitioning how we look at work. So right now, when you have a resume, we are hiring based off of where you worked, where you live, where you went to school. Some of them are indicators of your experience, but they don't really define who you are, what you've done in the world. And so we're missing that skills layer. And in working with this company, we were exposed to graduates out of school who are really struggling right now with finding jobs because of AI and taking away that initial layer. And I kept asking myself, how do we teach learned experience to people who have never even had the experience because they're not getting the opportunity to earn that? And also, why aren't they teaching in school how to navigate your intuition, finding your zone of genius, being able to develop agency within a work world that doesn't honor your agency? You either pick right or you don't. That's kind of how it works right now. So I've been thinking through a curriculum and almost a major. If I had my wish, it would be a major. It would be something that as part of the education experience, and it could be high school, definitely college, where you learn about yourself and your best contributions and how to navigate getting those done in the world. Because right now, you have to rely on institutions recognizing you in order to have that contribution. What if you wanted to find a cure for cancer? Sure, you need to have education for that. But there's also a lot of other little goalposts that you've got to get past. How do you navigate all of that if you're doing something that hasn't been done before? Because so many career paths are going to be uncharted. Moving forward, that's how it's going to look. So learning that whole process of navigating career and life and understanding yourself, it's something that it took me 30 years out of college to develop.
Well, that also would mean a huge cultural shift in how we interpret information. I mean, and
Yes.
how we value information. I think I'm
Yes.
fortunate. I think you're fortunate in that I value people who just know stuff, and I don't worry about whether they have the degree. Sometimes the degree, and not in all cases, but sometimes that 30 years of study is working against the person who's just deeply curious about a subject.
That's right.
I think that would be wonderful. The only thing is, it would have to be a flexible curriculum because with the arc of increased um, knowledge of AI, it's going to change the course of study goes on. I mean, what we know about AI
Absolutely.
today is not going to be the same 6 months from now.
No, no, it would
So,
have to be. You're absolutely right. It would have to be flexible, and it would have to involve the humanities.
absolutely. So, okay, you're also a parent. You're a woman. Um, is there anything, I mean, before we end our conversation, that you want people to know about you or how they can help you in some way?
Oh, wow. Well, I am always on the lookout for organizations who are in the middle of this navigational shift because for me, I need material to work with, right? I mean, I could tell you what's wrong, but if we're finding solutions in a place where those solutions don't yet exist, we need real material. So I've started some of these conversations with companies and I'm working with them to kind of navigate this, but always looking for more who are really looking at this in a different way. Not how do we become AI first, but how do we integrate AI in a way that makes the most sense for humans, that maintains our human capital and human flourishing, not destroys what we're doing. So that is one way. And anyone who wants to join in that conversation, I would love to hear from.
I thank you, Jory. Is there anything else you want to add that I've not asked you?
Oh, you've asked me all the right questions today. This was a great conversation.
Thank you so much.